Welcome to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. Each week, you'll learn how to navigate the global shift of consciousness and explore the deeper knowledge within. Welcome home. Now here's your host, Dr. Kelly Neff.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Kelly Neff, and you are listening to Lucid Planet Radio here on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour and let us help you experience healing, inspiration, and knowledge, because every week we have some of the best guests who are here to help you become the greatest version of yourself. And remember, you can always find out more on the lucidplanet.com and stream all of our podcasts for free on lucidplanetradio.com, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, etc. And remember, you can expect to find me here the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I've been teasing all year about my new show and book project on sex-positive relationships. It's coming, so stay tuned for 2019. And stay tuned for 2019 because it is literally the end of the year. This will be our last show of 2018, which means, of course, we are going into the holidays, which can be a reminder frequently that relationships are tough. And, in some cases, particularly during the holidays, we might find ourselves dealing with challenging interactions or toxic relationships more than we usually would. Maybe it's coworkers or a boss at your Christmas party, a family member, a friend's partner, maybe someone who's married into your family, maybe even your own partner. If you feel like you're in a relationship that's toxic or difficult and you're being subjected to this, I just want to let you know that you are not alone. What am I talking about here? I'm mostly talking about narcissists. And if you've listened to my past shows and read my various articles, you know that I'm a social psychologist and that relationships are my thing, especially when it comes to this topic of helping people to remove themselves from toxic relationships and embrace relationships that have more positive and sex-positive connotations. So to talk about this and to understand the difference between narcissists, narcissistic personality disorder, and to go through why certain people are attracted to narcissists and how to heal, I am absolutely thrilled to welcome one of the world's leading authorities on narcissistic abuse recovery, who is Melanie Tonia Evans. And Melanie is a healer, an author, and a radio host who herself is a survivor of narcissistic abuse. And we're going to hear about that story today. And she is also the founder of the Quanta Freedom Healing Technique and the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which now has over 20,000 graduates. Now, Melanie is here all the way from Australia today to celebrate her brand new book and to share kind of some insight from it. The book is called You Can Thrive After Narcissistic Abuse. And it's really cool because it looks at your subconscious programming and not just kind of like talk therapy. It goes a lot deeper on how you can heal your inner trauma and build a new life. So this is really groundbreaking, fabulous stuff to me, and I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. And if you're out there thinking you might be in a relationship with a narcissist, we hope that this show can be a resource for you and your loved ones. So on that note, for all the way in Australia right now, 18 hours ahead, let's please welcome Melanie Tonia Evans to the show. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, Dr. Kelly. It's awesome to be with you.
It's wonderful to have you here. Now, I just want to say I was so inspired by your story as a survivor and a thriver following narcissistic abuse. And I can't wait to hear more about that because I have a lot of questions. But before we get into that, for the sake of kind of like everyone being on the same page, can you describe for us what narcissistic personality disorder is and how you can have narcissistic traits, but not necessarily be a narcissist? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Look, that's a great question, and I'd love to share that with the listeners.
Awesome.
Because there is a spectrum of narcissism, and we could even argue there's healthy narcissism, which means that you're looking after your own needs, but doing it in a way that's not detrimental to others. That's a win-win with others. So that's quite healthy. But what we're talking about here is malignant narcissism, which is a self-interest in one's own needs to the detriment and damage of others. And that, look, a lot of people throw around the term narcissist.
Yes,
but
all the time.
All the time, and people get labeled with it all the time. But it really may be, somebody who's selfish, who's a little self-absorbed, who talks about themselves a bit too much, and can be a bit thoughtless. That's not fun to have a relationship with somebody like that, but that's definitely not a malignant narcissist. Yes. So when we're looking at a malignant narcissist, I write about 5 key things in my book that really identify them. And the first is emotional insecurity, because it's a really false premise when we think that narcissists are really confident and powerful and full of themselves. Because the truth is they're actually deeply insecure individuals that have a front, they have a mask. However, they will react on a hairline trigger once you get to know them and the mask starts dropping. So they'll get all bent out of shape and angry and triggered about things that normal adults just don't get upset about. And if they're not getting enough attention in a group setting, they may leave the scene, or afterwards they will make disparaging remarks about you getting all the attention or somebody there that was getting all of the attention. And they can be so deeply insecure about not having the limelight or what you're up to, or if you make comments about somebody else that are really positive. They may say, well, are you having an affair with that person? Or so you'll see big cracks in the insecurity department. The second thing is a sense of entitlement. Narcissists, and you start seeing that reasonably quickly. So they've got a real poor peripheral to other people's needs. So they're self-absorbed and it's a part of their inner identity. So they believe that they're entitled to more than what a normal person is, that they should. So the thing is, any deal that a narcissist brokers, no matter how charming or flattering they are, it's all to their own advantage. So they're after the stuff. They're after the attention. They're after preferential treatment.
Yes.
They're after accolades. They're after recognition.
I just want to interrupt you to say this is a really good point, and you drive this home in the book super hard, and I just wanted to say again, however charming they seem. This isn't like we're dense and, people just pull the wool over our eyes. We don't have a good read. It's not, if you end up in a relationship with a narcissist, it's not that, you're stupid. It's that they actually hoodwinked you. They can come across super charming. They know how to meet your needs and kind of get you all juiced up about it. And then you start to see the true side. And by that, it's almost too late. So I just wanted to say that because it's not like they lead with these traits.
Oh, gosh, perfect, Kelly, because, they don't. And we can talk a little bit about that, maybe later on. That's going to come in the conversation. Yeah. So the third point, this is a really important one to understand, and this is when the cracks are appearing in the relationship and the mask has started falling. You will be having circular arguments with this person that don't make sense. So if you are trying to come across with a point that any rational adult would understand, and you're getting diversions, projections, unrelated comments, tit for tat, pulling up things of your past, using allies, real or imagined, to back up their arguments, that they're doing antics and trivia that are taking it off the subject, projecting the blame on you, all of these things that you literally feel like banging your head against a wall. You feel like you're going crazy.
This is the worst, yes. This makes you literally feel crazy. I've been there. Sorry.
Oh, gosh. And it is only people with narcissistic personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder that actually behave in such out of bounds way with this behavior. And that's a dead ringer that you're with somebody who's a narcissist.
Absolutely. And then what are the last two before we break? I'm dying to know.
Okay, pathological lying. Okay, look, we can all say to somebody we care about, no, your backside does not look big in those pants, right? We can all do little white lies.
It's a white lie, yeah.
To look after somebody and be caring and compassionate. We are talking whoppers. We are talking pathological lies that look you straight in the eyes. Narcissists lie about little things, big things, and pretty much anything. And you cannot, that is a severe character integrity fault that there's really very little coming back from for anybody who is stooping to that level. And you cannot have a safe relationship that's decidedly narcissistic with somebody who does that.
No, absolutely not.
The fifth, blaming you for the problems.
Yes.
So this is huge.
So
I know it's one of the most insane and devastating parts of narcissistic abuse is the projection. So narcissists will literally accuse you of what they're doing. So, and if you were like myself and so many of others, it's like you're screaming at them, have you looked in the mirror? When you're being accused of being a liar or selfish or uncaring or moody or using people, for your own bidding, or you're after their money or whatever it is. And see, this is the thing. Narcissists are, if we had 2 hours to discuss this, it's all in the book. There are very real reasons why the narcissist is not just being an a-hole by saying that. They actually literally believe it because their brain wiring is so skewed and it is so operating from a false self paradigm that they've projected the parts of themselves that they've disowned onto you, and then they're lining them up and attacking them. The narcissist actually believes it's true.
Bam. And this is why these relationships become so incredibly toxic. One of the reasons why. Thank you, Melanie Tonia Evans. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Melanie is going to share with us what happened when she discovered that she was, in fact, in a relationship with a narcissist. So I think a lot of people out there might be able to identify with this. So stick with us, and we'll be right back here on Lucid Planet Radio after the break.
Tune in to E3 Influence Radio. Own your impact. Master your world. In this new hit show, Sarah Luce, empowerment coach and spiritual mentor, teaches us how to achieve our greatest potential to positively affect everything and everyone. The time is now to enlighten our minds, empower our hearts, and take energized action to raise the consciousness of our planet. Sarah shows us how with simple, easy-to-implement steps. To find out more about Sarah Luce and her E3 Influence program, visit sarahluce.com.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
If you're dealing with fear and anxiety, you've probably noticed that the more you fight these emotions, the stronger they seem to get. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution, explains that instead of suppressing, we need to identify and resolve the deeper, subconscious root causes of fear and anxiety. His personal breakthrough program has helped thousands worldwide to overcome their emotional challenges. To learn more, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com and schedule your free consultation with Dr. Schaub now.
We are back on Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly, and my guest today is Melanie Tonia Evans, who is sharing with us how to recover from narcissistic abuse. Before we continue, Melanie, I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to contact you to find out about your new book, which is called You Can Thrive After Narcissistic Abuse, as well as your Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program that has a ton of resources online.
Okay, so the book, if you go to youcanthrivebook.com, all the one word, youcanthrivebook.com, you'll see everything about the book. And we're so excited because it's become Amazon new release bestseller in one day.
What? Congratulations.
Oh, it's just going great guns, and, you know, we're doing TV and all sorts of things about it, interviews. It's just so exciting. So, yeah, so excited. But anyway, and you can go to my website, which is melanietoniaevans.com, and there you'll see a 16-day free course and a free webinar with me and 2 free ebooks and so many resources to get you started. And they're all for free for you to get started.
Fabulous, fabulous. And this program really is quite extraordinary, and we'll talk more about why later on in the show. But Melanie, what happened when you realized that you were in a relationship with a narcissist? I mean, we got to turn back the clock, right?
Well,
you were in a different place in your life. What was going on?
Okay, well, I'll shorten down the story, but okay, so the shortened version is that I met the man of my dreams at 35. I'd never been married. Within 4 months, I was swept off my feet and married to the man that I believed was my complete and utter soulmate, the literal man of my dreams. Now, what happened was I had uneasy feelings. It would be kind of like a look or something he'd say or whatever. It escalated into incredible control and jealousy that was could not be appeased within him at all. So my rights and what was being taken away from me became more and more and more. I wasn't allowed to have male clients. It got to the point where we'd be out on the street and I couldn't even look up in case a man looked at me because I'd be accused of trying to get sexual attention, and it was crazy.
It must have been incredibly anxiety provoking.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. No, it was. If I was home 2 minutes late from work, I would be having fully blown anxiety attacks. It was that bad. So things got worse and worse and worse. And then what ended up was he faked a cancer melanoma condition.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It complete with records and self-administered injections and everything. And I actually thought he was dying of cancer. His whole family did. So it ended up being a hoax to get attention and to control. So once that was discovered, and I finally clicked onto that, and I finally proved that. And then the abuse escalated to horrific levels. So by this stage, without me even knowing it, I didn't even know he was a narcissist. I just thought, where is my Prince Charming? I can somehow bring this back. This was my dream man, my dream life. I don't want to give it up. By this stage, I was already enmeshed in property, business, my entire life with him. Things got worse. Things came through from his past where he'd been illegal and even criminal. And he was continuing those sort of practices within the marriage. I was in overdrive with court cases, cleaning up the messes financially. The abuse was escalating. It was absolutely mental, emotional. It became physically violent. It became sexually violent.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up getting out of the relationship more times than I could count. I would either get hoovered back in or my severe trauma bonding addiction to him, which is a phenomena that I write about in the book. We all go through it, would make me go back. Or he would threaten my life so horrifically and aggressively and start ripping down all of my support structures around me that would force me to go back. So this went off and on for a 5-year period until one day the word narcissist popped into my head. So I Googled And I just went through the checklist, and Kelly, I nearly fell off the chair. I'm like,
finally. You're like, this makes sense. Yeah.
Oh my God. So then what I did was I sought out a narcissistic personality disorder specialist who I found was helping people, attempting to help people recover from narcissistic abuse. I went and saw her. What was really disturbing was a woman that was in appointment before mine each week. She was pregnant to a narcissist who 3 previous girlfriends had all committed suicide. So,
oh my gosh.
So I know, right? Okay. So anyway, I'm seeing this woman, and my situation was really severe. And she said to me point blank, there are 4 possibilities that'll come out of this. Either he'll kill you, you'll kill yourself, you're going to have a complete psychotic breakdown, or you're going to break down into a terminal or very serious illness you'll never come back from because of the stress. Because at that stage, Kelly, I was 80 pounds. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was shaking like a leaf. I was sweating. My adrenals were through the roof. My hair was falling out in clumps, and I was barely functioning at all. And she said to me, you're on the edge of a complete psychotic breakdown. And I said, well, what does that mean? Anyway, so the inevitable happened. I was still, despite seeing her and a whole lot of healers and therapists and everything, I was still massively hooked on him like a heroin addict. I couldn't give him up. We'd already divorced, and I was still seeing him behind everybody's back. I was still addicted. Wow. We were talking about remarrying and just all this crazy stuff. My son didn't want virtually anything to do with me. I was like a drug addict lying about my drug. It was horrible. Everybody turned their back on me, etc. Anyway, the inevitable happened. I had a complete psychotic adrenal breakdown, and the day it happened to me, I'll never forget. And I knew this is it. My mind has snapped. When that happened, I rang a girlfriend and I said to her, get me to hospital because this is it. So anyway, I went to hospital. They assessed me. The psychotic breakdown was obvious because I was having cataclysmic images and visions and scenery that wouldn't leave me.
So temporary psychotic-induced delusions.
Absolutely. Totally.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this is so serious. People are like, oh, relationships. No, this is super serious. The stress of being in a toxic relationship can literally destroy your entire life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd already lost all of my property. I'd lost my contacts. I'd lost my resources. I've been smeared to all and sundry. I'd been trying to battle him legally. I had credit cards racked up to everywhere. I'd completely lost my finances, my support, my health, my mind. My adrenals were through the roof. I was told that I would need 3 antipsychotics for the rest of my life to be able to function, and that I would never again function as normal. That was
And here you are. So something like a miracle must have happened. Something incredible has happened here. There is a deep, deep wisdom and healing within you, Melanie. And I'd love to understand how it's possible to be so broken and to actually heal yourself, because many people out there feel so broken, like they have no hope. And you were one of those people, but look at you now.
Oh yeah, I'm healthier and more thriving as a continual ongoing basis than I ever believed was possible in every way. So I was told in these diagnoses that I would never recover from what I'd just gone through ever, that I could only hope to possibly manage it, and I would probably need to be institutionalized for up to 2 years. That's how bad the breakdown was.
Wow.
So I went home on suicide watch because I thought, game over, even my son's better off without me. And I was absolutely contemplating how to kill myself in the best way for everybody concerned. And I was high on Valium at the time. So this voice in my head just kept saying, no, there's another way. And I just thought it was my madness. And it was no. So anyway, I'm arguing with this voice, no, there's not. And it's like, yes, there is. So I went into my bathroom. I hit my bathroom floor. I stuck my hands up above my head in total desperation. I just screamed out, help me. I can't do this anymore. And I just completely let go. I surrendered. There was nothing. And you know what? I'd never surrendered in my life. And I did it because there was nothing left of me, Kelly. And there was nothing else to do. And in that moment, an epiphany entered me that was so powerful and so complete. I'd never known anything so clearly in my entire life. I knew the whole truth. This actually wasn't about him. That he had come into my life to reflect back to me all the traumas that I'd carried my whole life and been born with epigenetically and had come down my family line, all the stuff that I'd never met and healed. And he was smashing those things that if I dropped my focus on him, because it wasn't about him, came into me and healed those things, I was catapulted into a future vision where I saw myself as I am now. Thriving, free of any symptoms, more whole, more connected to oneness, my power and my authenticity than I've ever dreamed of. I saw it and felt it in that vision. So then I came back into my body with a thud and I was changed. It was like a near-death experience.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to, but I knew there was a way and I just had to find it. And I'd been given the information. You can either sign up for this mission and take it, or you can come back in future lifetimes and keep doing what you're doing now.
Oh my gosh, I resonate so much with that, Melanie, in a different near-death sense, but that's just fabulous because you really, when you have nothing left to lose, there's nothing left to be afraid of anymore, I guess is my take home from that. And so all you have left to look forward to is rebuilding. We're going to take a really quick break. I don't want to because I can't wait to hear how the story turns out, although I already know pieces of it. But when we come back, Melanie Tonia Evans is going to talk about her journey to recovering from narcissistic abuse and the unbelievable trauma healing modalities that she's developed. So stick with us and we will be right back.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Practice living in wholeness with the body tune-up. 6 classes for $89 designed for radical self-healing and self-regeneration. Heal the deepest root of any challenge. The mental body was programmed in negativity, not good enough, separate from source. You're too much, you'll never make it. The emotional body holds all the pain and trauma of emotional suppression, all the pain from this life and lives past. The spiritual body is the place you connect with your higher power, your higher self, with the image and likeness of the One. The physical body houses and expresses the other 3 bodies every day. Go to CorneliaStephanie.com. Evolve, become a practitioner. We need to heal, integrate, and bring into wholeness and harmony the physical body, addressing all the other bodies in order to live in our true, authentic nature.
Dream on, fly high, and live adventurously on The Laura Meeks Show. Tune in each month on Transformation Talk Radio as host Laura Meeks guides you in finding your unique gifts and bringing them to life. As a certified life coach, speaker, and veteran bomber pilot for the U.S. Air Force, Laura knows how to follow a dream. She is ready to support you so you can dream on, fly high, and live adventurously. For more information on Laura and her work, visit flyhighliving.com.
Stay juicy. Tune in to Your Juicy Love with me, Una Drake, co-hosting monthly with Dr. Pat, and every second Monday at 12 p.m. on Transformation Talk Radio. My show, Your Juicy Love, helps you find the dynamic, life-affirming love you've always wanted. Transform your relationships and bring peace, joy, and juicy, juicy love to planet Earth. For more information, visit unadrake.com.
We are back on Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly, and today I have author Melanie Tonia Evans joining me on the show from Australia, sharing her unbelievable and incredibly inspiring story of her recovery from narcissistic abuse. Melanie, when we left off before the break, you had this unbelievable epiphany, download, near-death experience that showed you how the narcissistic abuse was actually highlighting the trauma that you needed to heal within yourself. Am I right? Am I getting that right?
Oh, you've got that spot on.
Sweet. So tell me, so what happens from there? Now you get the chance to rebuild your life. How do you do it?
Wow. Okay. So I got off the bathroom floor and I'm like, look, I had hope and I knew and I felt it in every cell of my body that there was a way. So from that moment onward, the Thriver movement was born because no longer was it actually about him. It was actually all about me. So for the first time in my life, I was totally devoted to living life from the inside out. So epiphanies came really, really quickly. So it was things like I'd realized my whole life I'd been so hard on myself, the conditional living. Was it any wonder that I'd had people and then him in my life where I was never good enough? I was damned if I did, I was damned if I don't. I'd realized that I'd carried what I call the fears of crap, criticism, rejection, abandonment, punishment, where I'd never shown up in my values and my truth and laid boundaries and said no and be prepared to lose it all to get it all. I'd handed over my powers so that people would love, approve of me and grant me survival and security. So all these massive epiphanies came to me and I'm like, and it wasn't like self-judgment. It was like, oh my God, this is why this has happened. However, I still had complicated post-traumatic stress disorder. I had agoraphobia through the roof. I still had adrenal malfunction. I was still very, very sick. I had psychoses, for God's sake. But anyway, this epiphany, I went back for my assessment the next day, which was basically what meds are you going to get on? Are we going to institutionalize you, whatever? And a miracle happened. I talked my way out of meds. They were like,
awesome.
I don't know what's happened to you, but something's happened to you. So this was divine intervention. So I went home medication-free without being medicated, and I started the Thriver journey. And I knew that I had to find a way to cellularly heal myself in my body, that this was about my subconscious, my inner programs, my deeper inner identity. This is where the work needed to be done. And I knew that. I didn't know how, but, this was this mission unfolding at first to save my own life. So what happened was the right information and the people and the intuition about where to look. So I started researching and I found stuff like Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Candace Pert, the deep neuroscientists that teach us that the brain follows the body and that the body, the subconscious programs, are controlling 95% of our life no matter what we try to think. And we need to do the work in there. So I started researching body healing modalities like kinesiology, like theta healing, like body code, like EFT, things that would actually give a shift in the body. And what I found was so quickly I was coming out of trauma, and the old stinking thinking and the addiction and the hooks to him. And mind you, from the epiphany time, I went no contact and I never broke it again.
Yes.
Because I knew that was necessary. So anyway, I was healing at this incredible rate.
Somatically healing. Somatically. Yes.
Because I became different in my inner identity. See, this is the thing, once we become different in our inner identity, our brain neuro pathways automatically switch onto new neural networks that match our new inner identity. Mm-hmm. We automatically think differently.
It's literally rewiring your brain.
Absolutely. And we rewire our brain through our body.
Yes.
That's the key. So things were being amazing. However, I had this condition, which was agoraphobia, that was terrifying. And look, I'd never understood it. When people would say, I can't go out in open spaces, I think, what? I don't get that. Oh, my God, I got it. Because if I was out in an open space, I would literally shake, melt down. I'd feel like the world was going to cave in on me. It was nearly uncontrollable. So safe spaces I was fine with, but out in the open, and I hit it up with every healing modality I could find. I was already a practitioner of body healing modalities. I was great at working on myself. I couldn't get it. I paid thousands of dollars to specialists all over the country trying to get to the bottom of this agoraphobia, because I knew through my understanding of quantum science and neuroscience, I knew that if I could find the related traumas in my body and release them and bring in my superconscious healing on it, that I could automatically be healed. I'd done it with so many things, but I couldn't nail it. So anyway, and this went on and on and on. So a synchronicity happened where I ended up in Koh Samui with a girlfriend, and traveling there with agoraphobia was horrific. Anyway, I got there. I'm in the hotel parameters. It took me about 3 days to recover from the traveling. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I want more. I want to get out into Koh Samui and play. But I knew I couldn't with agoraphobia. So one day she was out shopping, and I'm like, I just set the intention, I'm going to find the answer. I went to my hotel room. I opened my heart, my mind, and my soul. And I just said, I know I have this answer. I'm going to access it. So I started taking dictation. And what I was writing was a healing code that was a combination of things like past life timeline therapy, theta healing, kinesiology, and also other things that I'd never come across. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but I was actually writing the formula for the first ever Quanta Freedom Healing. And as I was writing it down, I had this innate excitement of, oh my God, this is it. I knew. So I wrote it down. I applied it to myself for 2 hours. And then I walked out the front gates of my hotel perimeter into the main street, and I was staying right in the main part of Koh Samui where it's all going on, and I just played in life. I felt extended, connected, full of love and connection to everything and everyone in ways that I had never felt, ever. And what I realized in the healing was, even as a little girl, I'd always been timid. I'd always been a bit scared. I'd always been withdrawn. I'd actually always had the traumas of I'm not safe in life. I'd carried them epigenetically. I'd suffered them in my childhood. My previous family had gone through massive traumas I had these wounds. I was born with them. They got worse through my life. And then, of course, the narcissist smashed them and fully activated them up into consciousness. That's why I could no longer do life as normal. So when I found, and most of the stuff on that had also been past life, because in past lives I've been annihilated for being myself. So, of course, I was safe in life. So and I found that deeply in my multidimensional self with Quanta Freedom Healing, because this is the thing, Quanta Freedom Healing cleans us up multidimensionally, not just childhood, not just even genetic wounds, not just the wounds we've suffered now, multidimensionally we get fully cleaned up. So anyway, I'm like, I now no longer have agoraphobia, and I am more present in life than I've ever been in my life. So I went back to Australia, no agoraphobia returned, and I was already working with clients, and I said, okay, we're not going to do what we were doing. We're doing this now. And it was pretty much like jumping out of a family sedan into a Ferrari. because the way people started healing and persistent chronic things like I'd had melted away, word of mouth exploded. So before you knew it, I knew it. I had like 6-7 clients a day, 7 days a week. I ended up booked out for 6 months. And I'm like, and I've got phone calls and people coming and psychologists and domestic violence workers are ringing me up, caseworkers, and going, what has happened to my client? What's happened? Why have they, they've been like this for months or years, and all of a sudden overnight they've shifted? What did you do? So I knew I had to create a program because this was bigger than anything I could ever kind of imagine, how many people out there were affected, and I couldn't help everybody. So I need to create a program and recorded healings that people can do in the comfort of their own home so I don't have to be there. So that started the NARP program, which then ended up being more of a success than I could have ever imagined.
It's fabulous. And now it's all in this book too, outlined for you in detail with activities. There's 10 steps, 10 phases. I mean, you can really get into it. And these are not hard activities per se. What's hard is actually opening yourself up to being present, to do these activities, which can be challenging in the sense of calling on these past traumas. But I went through it myself, and I have to say, like, I think this really does work, and it's quite extraordinary. And 20,000 people can't be wrong either, But yeah, I think, we got to take a quick break actually before we wrap up the show. But Melanie, I would love to hear from you when we come back about kind of the certain traits and traumas that make people more susceptible to being drawn in by narcissists. Because I have to tell you, I was getting my nails done while I was reading your book a couple weeks ago, and I read these traits out to my nail tech, and she was like, oh my gosh, I have every single one of those, and I used to be engaged to a narcissist, and every other person, either clients and people working in the nail salon, all agreed that they had been through similar things. And it was just so crazy. I had no idea that this was as far reaching as it really is. So we're going to go over these traits just for everyone to kind of download when we come back. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about Quanta Freedom Healing. So stay with us, and we'll be wrapping up the show about recovering from narcissistic abuse in just a few moments.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
Welcome back to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly. We've had a whirlwind and incredible show with Melanie Tonia Evans here, talking about how to thrive after narcissistic abuse. Now, before we left, I was referring to a section in the book that talks about personality traits and past experiences and how they might make us more predisposed to getting into relationships with narcissists. Melanie, I was hoping, since we have a little time here at the end of the show, could you kind of share these traits and how you got here to come up with this list? Because like I said, everyone I read this list to feels that it is spot on.
Well, my deep due diligence on myself, which was so necessary. I'm working with thousands of people over the last 10 years, and this is consistent, as you found out in your nail tech salon.
Seriously.
Okay, so the first one is if you've already suffered abuse or you fear abuse or you've got a strong aversion to abusers. So what this means is that you've got unresolved, unhealed traumas that you haven't yet graduated from. They're already in your system. So what happens at an inner identity level, whatever our beliefs and our emotional resonance, how we feel about something, that's a dead ringer for exactly the patterns we're going to keep experiencing. So until we heal from those things, we are going to keep meeting our shadows.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, I touched on this before. If you've got difficulty in speaking up, standing up for yourself and creating boundaries. So if you really find it difficult, like I did and all of us, we might even have a white hot fear of saying what we know we need to say or saying no to somebody, or we might go all fuzzy and we can't even get it out, or we do it in really whiny, justifying ways, or we hand out power. Okay, so that needs to be cleaned up. They're the fears of crap: fear and criticism, rejection, abandonment, or punishment for being yourself. So we need to heal those deep fractures within ourselves so we can just stand up, be ourselves, and if people don't get it and don't like it, it's like, okay, you're not a match for me. That's fine. Moving on. Number three, your integrity level is high and you're dismayed if anybody questioned it. All right. So if we're worried about what other people think about us, for us to have our own feelings about ourselves, we're in hot water. Because with a narcissist, what happens is you're always accused of being a bad person, selfish, uncaring, unloving, and you are in trauma saying, no, I'm not these things. So if we have to get other people to agree with us so that we can love ourselves and feel whole and safe, we're a dead ringer for a narcissist.
So true. All right, moving on.
Number four, if you work hard to sustain a sense of security and you clean up the mess made by other people that could threaten your security.
Oh, yeah, they love that.
Love it. If you are over-responsible for irresponsible people, bad news.
Yeah.
Narcissists, you are just A-grade everythingness for them if you're like that, because they will just mess up, you'll fix it, you'll stay hooked, you'll hand over narcissistic supply. They can be out of control narcissists and you will stay attached to them, trying to fix and change and be codependently hooked in. That was huge for me, that stuff.
Me too. I wanted just to jump in. Narcissistic supply, we talk about energy vampires. That's a big thing right now, right? And you mentioned in the book that quote that, an energy vampire can't just take from you. You actually choose to give them your energy. And that energy is the narcissist, what you call in the book, which I think is brilliant, narcissistic supply.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any energy, any attention, even negative attention makes a narcissist feel significant and powers them up to keep abusing you.
Yes.
Number five, you feel deep down that you can only be loved for your efforts and accomplishments. If you were brought up with conditional love, whereby you only felt loved and approved of for what you did, or what you gave, or how intelligent or smart or pretty or whatever that you were meant to be to make somebody else happy, well, then this is exactly what will happen in a narcissistic relationship. No matter what you do, it will never be good enough. You'll keep jumping through the hoops. They get higher and higher and higher and higher. And, that's what narcissists are magnetized to. Absolutely. Number six, you unconsciously feel others will only love you and care for you if you tend to their needs first. So If you grew up in a household where you were trying to placate others or keep them sane so that they had enough resources to love and care for you, you are going to be attracted to unsafe people trying to fix them so that they can love you. That's a narcissist.
Yes. And oh my gosh, this number 7 is like, to me, the epitome of the source of the problems, but I'll let you read it out.
Okay, number 7, you are very hard on yourself and you're never happy with what you achieved. You continually feel anxious about what you haven't accomplished yet.
Seriously. And that's so, everyone feels like that, especially with social media or culture. Everyone feels like that right now, it seems.
Absolutely. Because, we were taught kind of like the Christian model was people are going to treat you how you treat them. No, they don't.
Yeah, they don't.
They treat you how you treat yourself. So if you're never good enough, I used to be, Melanie, I can only like you, God not love you. That was too big a stretch. If you lose 5 pounds, if you get all your to-do list done, if you do this, if you have that, if you conditional love, conditional living.
Yes.
That's exactly what narcissists represent. You will never be good enough for them, ever. Number 8, you have a tendency to want to fix and sort out other people's problems rather than go inside and examine and sort out your own uncomfortable emotions. This is huge. If we haven't learned how to self-partner, self-soothe and heal our own emotional triggers, we're going to look to the outside and say, well, if I can fix and change you, then I'm going to feel okay on the inside.
Yes, but that never makes you feel okay because you're never dealing with yourself.
Absolutely. And it equals how to lose every single time. And you can never actually change and control anybody that's not you. No. And if you try to do that to make yourself feel better, you're just going to feel more changed and controlled by them, and you're going to feel worse.
So true.
So
true.
Number 9, you see yourself as an empath and you put other people's needs before your own in the belief that this is virtuous. This is huge.
Seriously, so huge. I mean, and everyone wants to be an empath and talks about it right now, but there's such a true bond between empaths and narcissists.
And, I believe that there are so many delusions about how we can think about being an empath. Yes. A really simple an empath is somebody who senses other people's energies and jumps in and tries to make that person feel better. And we can say, well, that's because you're caring and loving. But we can always also say, well, it's because you feel drastically unsafe. And if you can sort that other person out, well, then maybe you're going to be safe.
It's very true.
Oh, yeah, totally. When we are anchored in our own body as a source of self, being sourced through us as us, we then help people in responsible, empowered ways. We don't dive in and drown with them to try and fix ourselves, which is what empaths do. I like this analogy as an empath. Let's say you're standing on a stage and you're delivering a speech. If you're an unhealthy empath, you'll be feeling into everybody in the crowd. That girl's on her mobile phone. That guy's he's like, what do I have to say to get their attention? What do I have to do to make them hear me? That's an unhealthy empath. Yeah. And a healthy empath will stand on stage and say, I am bringing source through me as me. I'm powerfully, authentically myself, and I'm going to share that with this auditorium.
That is a super wisdom drop that I think a lot of people would benefit from. So thank you for sharing that. And of course, there's so much more in the book about all of these topics. We barely scratched the surface, but Melanie, we have a minute left. Is there any one thing you would want to say to if there's someone out there listening who's in an abusive, narcissistic relationship? What would you say to them? What would you want them to know right now?
I want you to know there's life after, and I want you to know that no matter how broken or traumatized or terrorized what you've lost, how old you are, how hopeless it seems, there is a way back to a better, truer self in life than you ever knew was possible. This has happened for a reason. This is a make or break experience, and you've dissolved, but this is your path to evolve.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. And I love everything about you and your story, and just this idea that, the biggest conflicts in our lives can actually be huge blessings that get us to where we need to be and help us learn and grow and heal so many other people. And I mean, in a way, I'm just wondering before we end, is there a gratitude for this experience? Is there a gratitude for this ex-husband of yours who destroyed your life? Can you forgive?
Oh gosh, there is, do you know what? There is so much gratitude. On a personality level, I wouldn't have him around for cheese and biscuits and a wine and thank him. Okay, but on a soul level, I am so grateful for this soul contract. My soul planned this perfectly, and I am so grateful for the part he played in it, because I wouldn't be who I am without this of having happened.
I love it. I love that attitude. That is the attitude of gratitude that will get you everything you need in your life. On that note, Melanie, I wish we had another hour, but it's been just wonderful. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, Dr. Kelly, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing what you do.
You too. And guys, again, you'll be able to catch this show and all of our other ones on lucidplanetradio.com. And stay tuned for my new show coming out next year. And again, don't forget, you can now buy You Can Thrive After Narcissistic Abuse by Melanie Tonia Evans, trending bestseller, new bestseller on Amazon. So congrats again, Melanie, and light and love to you and all of our listeners out there. Have a beautiful rest of your night. Bye now.
You've been listening to the hit show, Lucid Planet Radio, with renowned psychologist and author, Dr. Kelly Neff. Tune in each week as we illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. This hit show will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake up to the greatest version of yourself. Learn how to navigate the global shift of consciousness as you explore the deeper knowledge, passion, and purpose within. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for upcoming show topics and to contact Dr. Kelly.